I have an issue when the criticism seems like it's personal or like from a bad place. And since I know so many things that are going on behind the scenes, what other people don't know.
Nobody expected a casual comment to turn into a full-blown alarm, but that's exactly what happened. Out of nowhere, Nicki Minaj shifted the whole conversation and put a spotlight on Gucci Mane's inner circle. And once she did, people couldn't unsee it. What sounded like a quick remark quickly turned into something way deeper, and suddenly Keisha Ka'oir was at the center of a storm nobody was prepared for. Nicki straight up painted Keyshia as the villain in the story, accusing her of keeping Gucci sedated, and the way it came out sounded less like shade and more like a confession spilling out under pressure. People immediately felt like Nicki cracked open a door that had been locked for years, because this wasn't the first time whispers like this floated around the culture. Longtime fans remembered old conversations, old rumors, and that uneasy feeling that something about Gucci didn't feel the same anymore. Now here's where it gets heavy. A lot of people started saying Gucci's mind doesn't even feel like his own these days.
Him going through episodes before we were married, and I was like, man, somebody got to help this guy. It was really, really bad. It's really sad because you're seeing someone you don't know.
They're convinced Keyshia runs every move behind the scenes, from business decisions to public appearances, and maybe even deeper than that. Not just love, not just support, but control. That's the word that keeps popping up over and over again. And it doesn't stop there. When you line up Nicki's comments with Gucci's own past confessions about his mental health, plus all the tension tied to the old 1017 Brick Squad drama, it starts forming a picture that's honestly uncomfortable to look at. Fans are saying this isn't random at all. This feels like pieces finally snapping together after years of confusion. People keep pointing out how Gucci has openly talked about struggling mentally, trying to find balance, trying to stay grounded, yet somehow always appearing tightly managed in public.
I have a system.
Personally,
I take his apps off his phone. First thing I do, I delete Instagram. I delete everything. Even if I got to change his password, I'm changing it because I don't need the public to know he's having an episode.
Every interview feels calculated, every appearance feels controlled, and suddenly folks are asking who's really steering the ship here? Is it Gucci or is it someone else entirely? The internet loves to sell their marriage as flawless, polished, and untouchable. Designer outfits, luxury trips, perfect smiles. But Nicki's words forced people to look past the shine and ask what's happening behind closed doors. Because power inside a relationship doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks quiet, clean, and carefully packaged. This whole storm really traces back to when Gucci Mane and Keisha Ka'oir sat down on the Breakfast Club to promote his memoir. At the time, everything seemed fine on the surface. But looking back now, people are rewatching that interview with new eyes, catching small moments, subtle pauses, and energy shifts that suddenly feel different. What Nicki said didn't come out of nowhere. It hit because it echoed what people have been side-eyeing for years. And whether you believe her or not, one thing is clear: this story isn't about tweets anymore. It's about power, control, and whether the version of Gucci the world sees is truly the one in charge. Things felt calm on the surface until Keisha Ka'oir started explaining how she handles Gucci Mane during his mental health episodes, and that's when eyebrows went up fast. Sitting there confidently, she laid out what she called a system, and the way she said it made people lean closer instead of feeling reassured. She explained, "I have a system. I delete Instagram. I delete Twitter. I control everything at home." That one statement alone sent shockwaves because it sounded less like support and more like full control. That quote didn't age quietly at all. Within hours, Nicki Minaj snapped back hard and the tone flipped from calm to chaos instantly. Nicki accused Keisha of chasing attention for years and trying to mirror her moves, claiming she'd been waiting on the spotlight way too long. Then Nicki dropped the line that set everything off, saying Keisha was there to keep Gucci sedated. And that word alone made people freeze. Nicki didn't stop there either. She went on to say Keisha didn't want Deborah around Gucci and didn't want Deborah anywhere near Nicki, making it sound like there was a deliberate effort to control access and isolate people. Nicki made it clear Deborah was around her now, signaling that whatever barriers were put up had finally cracked. Then the focus shifted straight to Charlemagne. Nicki publicly labeled him a fraud and accused him of using his media power to push messy narratives against innocent families. She dragged old connections into it, saying he was around Wendy Williams before everything in her life fell apart, and made it clear she felt he had a pattern of destruction. Her words weren't playful, they were a warning. Nicki doubled down by saying, "The buck stops here, baby. Bookmark this," letting everyone know she wasn't backing down and wasn't scared of the smoke. She challenged anyone looking for attention to step forward and made it clear she was ready to fight back publicly and legally. She even brought up serious allegations about her home being swatted multiple times with law enforcement involved, saying there were weapons drawn while a child was present and demanded proof instead of rumors. She called out record executives and industry players directly, asking who would stand up for her now. By the end of it, this wasn't just about one interview anymore. It turned into a loud, messy showdown involving power, media influence, and who really gets to control the narrative when private lives turn public. At this point, everybody could tell this wasn't some throwaway celebrity back and forth anymore. This was Nicki Minaj aiming straight at the core of Gucci Mane's marriage, and once it hit that level, there was no walking it back. Nicki wasn't sparring with one person either. She was swinging at the whole room, and the tension felt thick across the internet.
It's almost like it's a psychosis, you know what I'm saying? It's not, you dealing with stuff like you hearing voices.
Yeah, they have voices.
And you hearing voices too, like.
By the next morning, Keisha Ka'oir clearly had enough. She jumped on Instagram and posted herself vibing to Cardi B's music, and that timing was not accidental at all. Fans instantly read it as shade, especially since Cardi and Nicki have their own long history. When Keisha added captions brushing off the drama and signaling she wasn't embarrassed, people took it as a loud message, not a coincidence. To a lot of viewers, it looked like a straight declaration of war. Instead of cooling things down, Keisha appeared to lean into it, and that only made the situation messier. Then, right when things couldn't seem more chaotic, gossip personality Tasha K jumped into the mix and poured gasoline on the whole situation. She posted claims saying word on the curb was that Gucci Mane once wanted to be with Nicki, but Nicki allegedly shut that down. Whether true or not, the claims spread fast and it opened the door for even darker talk. Tasha K went further, throwing out accusations that Keisha slid right in, helped fix Gucci's image, upgraded his finances, put him on prescription medication, and reshaped his whole life. She even claimed Gucci thought he married his dream girl while allegedly being high off tranquilizers, which shocked a lot of people reading it. The comment sections went wild instantly. Some fans called it reckless gossip with no proof, while others said they'd heard similar things before. A few even brought up Waka Flocka, saying he once hinted that Keisha acted more like a handler than a partner. The split reactions made it clear nobody knew what to believe anymore. But here's where the story takes a chilling turn. Gucci Mane himself has spoken about moments from his past that suddenly hit different in this context. In his memoir, he admitted that Keisha once had him committed during a mental health crisis. He described being surrounded by security and taken to a mental hospital, explaining how disoriented and overwhelmed he felt at the time. Gucci talked openly about hearing voices and not being in the right mental space, framing it as a serious health situation. Still, with everything unfolding now, fans are revisiting those words with uneasy questions. What once sounded like care and intervention now has people wondering where the line between help and control really was. Gucci always framed the story as love, saying Keisha saved his life. And for a long time, people accepted that version without question.
Yeah, I know allegedly Gucci's wife, while he was locked up, slept with Yo Gotti, right? Allegedly. That's why he cussed out Angela Yee. I don't know if y'all noticed. By the way, Gucci, I love you so much. Like, don't ever diss me. I love you, bro.
But once the internet started replaying that interview again, one word kept jumping out and making folks uncomfortable: kidnapped. Hearing that word attached to a marriage, even in a mental health context, made people pause and look at the situation sideways. Then things got even shakier when people remembered Keyshia openly talking about deleting Gucci's social media accounts and changing his passwords. At first, it sounded like protection, but stacked together with everything else, it began to feel less like help and more like control. That's when old comments started resurfacing, especially from Waka Flocka Flame. Years ago, Waka publicly explained why he cut Gucci off after Brick Squad fell apart. He said he never got paid for songs he helped make, including No Hands, the track everybody remembers turning up to. That record was everywhere on clubs, radio, parties, and Waka felt pushed out right after it blew up. At the time, people brushed it off as bitterness. But Waka didn't just complain about money. He also said Gucci wasn't running Atlanta anymore and claimed he changed after a woman came into his life. Back then, most people ignored that part or laughed it off. Now, after Nicki's comments, fans are digging up those old clips and saying Waka might have been telling the truth all along. Some fans even believe Keyshia intentionally isolated Gucci from people who used to keep him grounded, including Deborah Antony and Nicki Minaj. Those were two women known for checking Gucci when things got out of hand and suddenly they were gone from his inner circle. That pattern didn't feel random to a lot of observers. When you line everything up, the forced hospital stay, the deleted phones, the quote about controlling everything at home, it starts reading like a textbook power dynamic instead of a love story. And Nicki's choice of words, especially sedated, hits way harder when you remember something else from that same interview. Keyshia actually admitted that she controls Gucci's medication. She said it casually, like it was no big deal, but hearing that now changes the whole tone of the conversation. For fans watching from the outside, the question isn't whether Gucci loves his wife, it's whether love slowly turned into something much heavier behind the scenes. When Keyshia said she can catch Gucci's episodes before they even happen, a lot of people online didn't hear comfort. They heard surveillance. To them, it sounded like he was under constant watch, not just emotionally, but chemically too. That idea made folks uneasy fast, especially when combined with her comments about controlling his medication and home environment. Soon after, anonymous voices from people connected to reality TV circles started chiming in. Former love and hip-hop figures quietly claimed Gucci's energy hasn't felt the same since he came home. They described him as distant, flat, and almost robotic at times. Whether fair or not, those words stuck and fans started replaying interviews looking for signs they might have missed. Then old clips resurfaced that added even more chaos to the mix. Footage involving DJ Academics and Slim sparked renewed rumors that Keyshia allegedly cheated on Gucci while he was locked up. One name kept getting dragged into the conversation, Yo Gotti. People even tied those whispers to Gucci's long-standing tension with Angela Yee, asking if that situation was connected too. That's when people started asking a darker question. Was all this "I control everything" talk really about protection? Or was it about keeping the upper hand after mistakes from the past? Some fans believe control became leverage, especially once Gucci's freedom, health, and career were all on the line at the same time. Things escalated again when Rick Ross's ex, Tia Kemp, made a bold claim. She said she personally saw Keyshia leaving with Rick Ross in a Rolls Royce while Gucci was still in prison. She described the moment in detail, saying, "I seen it with my own eyes," mentioning Keisha's blue lipstick, mohawk, and whole look at the time. That level of detail made people pause, even if they didn't fully believe it. Keyshia shut that rumor down immediately. She posted a clear denial saying, "Ain't never had no dealings with Rick Ross, period. Keep my name out your mix-up." No softness, no hesitation, just a hard stop. But by then, the damage was already done. Once a narrative sticks online, denials don't always erase it. People became convinced that Keyshia always held some kind of leverage over the men around her, whether through influence, access, or control. True or not, that perception started shaping how every old clip, quote, and rumor was being viewed from that point forward.
I seen it with my own eyes when she was wearing that blue lipstick and mohawk and all that, when she came over there when Gucci was in jail, and she came to pick him up from the house.
Nicki didn't keep the heat focused on Keyshia alone. She widened the blast radius fast. She went straight at Charlemagne, accusing him of being a Jay-Z associate and using his iHeartRadio platform to push what she called industry setups. To Nicki, this wasn't random media mess. This was a system, and she made it clear she felt targeted by it for a long time. And if you've been watching Nicki lately, this part didn't shock anyone. She's been on a mission to call out power players across the board, from executives to artists, all allegedly tied into the same behind-the-scenes machine. So when she hinted that Charlemagne was around Wendy Williams before her life spiraled, people immediately connected dots. Fans pointed out that Wendy's downfall came not long after she started naming names in Hollywood. Whether coincidence or not, Nicki's comments made people revisit that timeline with fresh suspicion. To her supporters, this wasn't gossip. It was a warning. From there, some fans took Nicki's claims even further. They didn't see Keyshia as just a jealous wife. They painted her as another handler, allegedly placed to keep one of Atlanta's most outspoken rappers quiet. That idea spread fast, especially when people started comparing Keyshia's public image to Nicki's. One fan said they couldn't unsee Keyshia trying to mirror Nicki's whole vibe, especially knowing Gucci once had interest in Nicki and couldn't have her. Others took things way too far, throwing out spiritual accusations and wild theories about control and influence. Those claims stayed in the comment sections, not as facts, but as proof of how intense the speculation had become. On the other side, plenty of people rushed to defend Keisha hard. Supporters said she's always been protective of Gucci, never careless, never reckless. They reminded everyone she stood by him during his lowest moments and wouldn't knowingly let him stay in an unsafe mental space. To them, calling that control was unfair and disrespectful. At that point, the internet turned into a full-blown culture war. Team Nicki versus Team Keyshia, no middle ground, no chill. Through all of it, Gucci stayed silent, which only made the tension louder. But here's a detail people overlooked back then. When Keisha launched her Kaoir cosmetics line, fans noticed the promo visuals felt very familiar. The latex looks, the bold poses, the pink heavy color palette, people started saying it looked straight out of Nicki's Pink Friday era. Now fans are resurfacing side-by-side photos, pointing out similarities in styling, stage fits, and visual themes. Whether coincidence or inspiration, those comparisons added another eerie layer to a story that already felt way deeper than music or marriage. Now some people are saying Keisha's fixation goes even deeper than anyone first realized. The claim is that she isn't just inspired by Nicki. She's allegedly modeling herself after Nicki's exact image of power. A woman who looks glamorous in public dominates the narrative and moves like a boss behind the scenes. But here's the twist Nicki keeps hinting at. This isn't empowerment, it's manipulation. That's why Nicki's words hit so hard when she said, "The buck stops here." That wasn't just frustration talking. To a lot of fans, it sounded like a warning shot. Like she's done staying quiet and ready to expose whatever she's been sitting on all these years. People are now wondering if Nicki has real receipts tucked away. Text messages, studio footage, private conversations from the old Brick Squad days. If anything like that ever comes out, it wouldn't just shake one marriage, it could reopen messy wounds across the entire Atlanta hip-hop scene. And let's not forget, Gucci Mane himself publicly apologized to Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Rick Ross for dissing them during what he later described as a manic episode. At the time, people saw that as accountability and growth. But now, with Keisha admitting she controls his online access, fans are questioning everything. People are asking a question that feels uncomfortable but unavoidable. When Gucci speaks now, whose voice are we really hearing? Is it Gucci or is it Keisha speaking through him? That question keeps getting louder as the drama continues. Nicki is still being painted as the villain, still tweeting subliminals, still standing 10 toes down on her claims. Meanwhile, Keisha keeps posting Gucci proudly, presenting a united front like nothing's wrong. And quietly, Gucci's memoir keeps climbing the charts, fueled by the exact controversy everyone claims they're tired of. The timing doesn't go unnoticed, and fans are side-eyeing the entire situation. At this point, one thing is clear. This situation was never just about jealousy or shade or clout. It's about power, access, and control. Who has it, who lost it, and who's been pulling strings behind the curtain this whole time? And if Nicki really decides to stop hinting and start showing receipts, this situation could explode way beyond one marriage. People aren't just watching for drama anymore. They're watching to see how deep industry power couples really go when the cameras are off and the contracts are signed. Fans believe Nicki wouldn't be talking this bold without something solid behind her words. Screenshots, old messages, studio moments, conversations from back in the Brick Squad era. All of that could flip narratives overnight. And once one story cracks open, others usually follow right behind it. That's why this feels bigger than a feud. This is about who gets protected, who gets silenced, and how control gets dressed up as love in the public eye. If Nicki pulls that thread, people think it could unravel more than just Gucci and Keisha's image. It could expose how power really works in hip-hop relationships. Right now, everybody's watching moves instead of listening to words. Nicki staying loud, Keisha staying polished, Gucci staying quiet. Every detail matters. And silence, in moments like this, speaks just as loud as tweets. So now it's on you. Do you think Nicki is bluffing, or do you think she's sitting on something major? Let me know what side you're on in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who follows celebrity drama, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Another video is already on your screen right now, so tap in and keep watching for more celebrity chaos. I'll see you in the next one.